Admiral James Walker stood at the viewing window of Earth's embassy on the massive Galactic Council station, his weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass as he watched the council members file into their grand chamber. After 15 years of serving as Earth's representative, he knew something was wrong. The emergency meeting had been called too quickly, with too little notice. "Sir," his assistant Tom Reed spoke from behind him. "They're starting the vote." Walker turned away from the window, his blue uniform crisp despite the late hour. The main screen in the embassy lit up, showing the council chamber in all its glory. 500 representatives from different alien species sat in rising tiers, like an ancient Roman amphitheater built for giants. The council speaker, a tall creature with gray skin and 6 eyes, rose from his central podium. "We gather today," his translator boomed, "to address the growing threat of Earth's unchecked technological advancement." Walker's fists clenched. This was what he had feared. Earth had recently developed faster than light travel independently, decades ahead of the Council's predictions. Their AI research had also leaped forward, surpassing many council races. "A vote is called," the speaker continued, "to implement Article 47, quarantine of dangerous civilizations." The room erupted in shouts and calls. Walker watched as several of Earth's longtime allies remained suspiciously quiet. He had seen this before, the Council's corruption at work, buying votes with technology and trade deals. "This is illegal," Walker spoke into his communicator, connecting to Earth's Defense Command. "They're violating 3 separate treaties. Get the president on the line." But as he tried to open diplomatic channels, error messages flashed across his screen. Tom rushed to the communication console, his fingers flying over the controls. "Sir, they've cut us off. All our channels are blocked." The voting began. Walker watched helplessly as green lights lit up across the chamber, each one another vote to isolate Earth. Their supposed allies, the trading partners who had profited from Earth's innovations for years, all turned their backs. "The vote passes," the speaker announced with poorly hidden satisfaction. "Earth is hereby quarantined under Article 47. All space travel to and from the Sol system is prohibited. A containment fleet will be deployed immediately." Walker slammed his hand against the window. "They planned this," he growled. "The fleet's already in position, isn't it, Tom?" Tom's fingers danced across the sensor controls. The screen shifted to show space around their solar system. Hundreds of Council warships were dropping out of faster-than-light travel, their weapons already charging. "Get me Earth Defense Command again," Walker ordered. "Use the backup frequencies." This time, the call connected. General Maria Roberts appeared on screen, her face grim. "We see them, Admiral. The President has already initiated Protocol Zero." Walker's breath caught. Protocol Zero was the contingency plan they had hoped never to use. "Are you sure?" "Once we start this." "They've made their choice," Roberts replied firmly. "Now we make ours. Return to Earth immediately. Use the emergency pod. We're expecting them to shut down the regular shuttles any minute." As if on cue, alarms blared through the embassy. Tom looked up from his console. "Sir, they're locking down all Earth diplomatic facilities. We need to move now." Walker nodded, years of military training taking over. "Initiate data wipe. Leave nothing for them to find." He walked to a seemingly normal wall panel and pressed his hand against it. The panel slid aside, revealing a small escape pod. "Sir," Tom said as they climbed in, "what do we do now?" Walker strapped himself in, his face set with grim determination. "Now we show them why you should never corner humanity. They think they're containing a threat." He pressed the launch button, and the pod shot away from the station. "We'll show them what a real threat looks like." As their pod raced toward Earth, Walker watched the Council ships moving into position. They thought they were setting up a simple quarantine. They didn't know that Earth had been preparing for this betrayal for years. They didn't know about the hidden fleets, the secret weapons, or the quantum technologies that would make their defenses useless. The council thought they were caging a primitive species. Instead, they had just declared war on humanity's unleashed fury, and Earth's revenge would shake the galaxy to its core. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a bunker that officially didn't exist, Earth's military leaders gathered around a massive holographic display. The room hummed with tension as Commander Diana Ross walked to the center of the chamber. Her dark uniform bore no rank insignia. This facility was beyond such formalities. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady. "What happened at the council was no surprise. We've been preparing for this day for the past decade." The hologram shifted, showing detailed scans of council warships now surrounding Earth. Admiral Walker, who had returned just hours ago, stood to her right, his face still showing anger from the betrayal he'd witnessed. "Project Phoenix is ready," Commander Ross continued. She pressed a button, and the hologram changed to show something that made even the hardened generals gasp. While they thought we were struggling with basic spaceflight, we were building this. The image showed massive shipyards hidden in asteroid belts throughout the solar system. Hundreds of advanced warships waited in secret docks, their designs unlike anything the Council had ever seen. "How did we hide this from their scans?" General Thompson asked, leaning forward in his chair. Commander Ross smiled. "The same way we've hidden everything else. Their sensors can't detect our quantum shielding technology. They're still looking for standard energy signatures while we've moved far beyond that." The bunker's main door opened, and President Robert Thomas walked in. Everyone stood at attention, but he waved them back to their seats. "At ease. Dr. Wright, show them what else we've been working on." Dr. Emma Wright, a brilliant scientist with graying hair, stepped forward. She pulled up new images showing weapons that seemed to bend the laws of physics themselves. "The Council thinks they're containing us," she explained, "but they don't realize we've had access to their secure databases for years. Every defense they've built, we've already found a way around. Every weapon they've developed, we've countered. And we've created things they haven't even dreamed of." The room filled with murmurs of appreciation. Earth's greatest minds have been working in secret, preparing defenses and weapons that would change the nature of space warfare itself. President Thomas addressed the room. "Every nation on Earth has contributed to this effort. For the first time in human history, we are truly united. China, Russia, America, India, every country has played its part in Project Phoenix." Commander Ross took over again, showing detailed battle plans. "We've identified every weak point in their containment fleet. Their ships are powerful, but they're predictable. They haven't fought a real war in 10,000 years. They've grown complacent. And their biggest mistake," Admiral Walker added, standing up, "was thinking we wouldn't be ready. They see us as primitive barbarians who got lucky with a few technological advances. They have no idea what humanity is truly capable of." The hologram shifted again, showing Earth's hidden fleet moving into position. Thanks to their quantum shielding, the Council ships wouldn't detect them until it was too late. "We launch in 24 hours, President Thomas announced. "Every ship is in position. Every weapon is primed. We'll show them that humanity isn't just another species to be contained and controlled." Dr. Wright pulled up one final image, a massive device that seemed to swallow light itself. "And if they still don't get the message, we have this. The Council's worst nightmare, a weapon that can shut down their faster-than-light travel network. They'll be trapped in normal space, fighting on our terms." Commander Ross looked around the room, meeting each person's eyes. The Council thought they were wise to quarantine Earth. Instead, they'd given us the perfect opportunity to strike. They gathered their ships in one place, thinking they're the ones setting a trap. Little do they know, Admiral Walker finished, they'd walked right into ours. Humanity won't just break free from their containment. We'll reshape the galaxy itself. As the meeting ended and Earth's leaders moved to their battle stations, there was no fear in their eyes. The Council had made a fatal mistake. They had threatened humanity's freedom, and now they would learn why Earth's creatures were known as the most dangerous in their world. The time for preparation was over. Tomorrow, the galaxy would learn the true cost of underestimating humanity. The Council's Supreme Commander stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the massive energy weapon charge up. The ship, Star Sovereign, was the pride of the Council's fleet. Its main cannon could crack planets, and today they would use it to send Earth a message. "Target Pluto," he ordered, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. "Show these primitives what happens when they defy the Council." The weapon fired, a beam of pure energy racing toward the distant dwarf planet. But something impossible happened. The beam simply vanished. One moment it was there, the next it was gone, as if it had never existed. Alarms blared across the Star Sovereign. Energy readings off the scale. An officer shouted, "Something's coming." Suddenly, space itself seemed to tear open. A fleet of Earth ships appeared from nowhere, their designs unlike anything the Council had ever seen. They moved with impossible speed, their hulls seeming to bend light around them. Admiral Walker's voice boomed across all Council communication channels. "This is humanity's response to your containment. Operation Thunderbolt begins now." The Earth ships fired, but instead of normal weapons, they released waves of quantum energy that passed straight through the Council ship's shields. Systems began shutting down across the entire Council fleet. On the Star Sovereign's bridge, panic spread as screens went dark. "Impossible," the Supreme Commander shouted. "Their technology is centuries behind ours." "That's where you're wrong," Walker's voice came again. "We've been lying. Every technological weakness we showed you was fake. Every limitation you thought we had was an act. Here's the truth." More Earth ships appeared, surrounding the Council fleet. Their weapons didn't destroy. They disabled. Council ships floated helplessly in space as their systems were shut down one by one. Commander Diana Ross led the attack on the Star Sovereign itself. Her ship, the Thunderchild, moved like a dancer through space, avoiding every shot fired at it. "Target their command systems," she ordered her crew. "Show them what Earth's quantum strike technology can do." The Thunderchild fired, and the Star Sovereign's bridge went dark. Emergency lights kicked in, showing the Supreme Commander's shocked face. His mighty flagship, the most powerful ship in the Council fleet, had been disabled by a single shot. Back on Earth, Dr. Wright monitored the battle from the Rocky Mountain bunker. "The quantum disruptors are working perfectly," she reported to President Thomas. "Their shields can't stop what they don't understand." The Council ships tried to retreat, but Earth's fleet had trapped them in a carefully planned web. Every escape route was blocked. Every attempt to call for help was jammed. The mighty Council armada was helpless. Admiral Walker's ship moved alongside the Star Sovereign. "This is just the beginning," he transmitted to the Supreme Commander. "You thought you could cage humanity. Instead, you've unleashed us." The Supreme Commander watched in horror as more Earth ships appeared. They weren't just winning. They were doing it without destroying a single Council ship. This wasn't just a victory. It was a demonstration. "Impossible," he whispered. "Your species, you were barely reaching Mars a few decades ago." "We showed you what we wanted you to see," Walker replied. "While you watched our public space program stumble and struggle, our real ships were already among the stars. Every failure was planned. Every setback was fake." Commander Ross's voice joined the transmission. "Your containment fleet is now our fleet. Your crews are unharmed but powerless. This is humanity's first lesson. Never judge a species by what they show you." As the Earth ships began towing the disabled Council vessels away, the Supreme Commander received one final message from Admiral Walker. "Tell your Council this. The quarantine of Earth is over, but humanity's revenge is just beginning." The first strike was complete. Earth had revealed its true power, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Council had wanted to contain humanity. Instead, they had started a revolution that would shake the foundations of their power forever. After the stunning defeat of the Council's containment fleet, Earth launched its next phase. Admiral Walker stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching as the revolutionary Ghost Fleet prepared for its first mission. "All ships report ready," his tactical officer announced. "Ghost protocols active." The Ghost Fleet was humanity's masterpiece. Ships that could become completely invisible, not just to eyes, but to every kind of sensor. They didn't just hide. They simply ceased to exist as far as any detection system was concerned. "Begin Operation Shadow Strike," Walker ordered. "Target their supply lines first." Across Council space, chaos erupted. Supply ships vanished without a trace. Military bases went dark. Communication relays stopped working. The Ghost Fleet struck everywhere at once, but no one could find them. On a Council military station, alarms blared as another supply convoy disappeared. The station commander slammed his fist on his desk. How are they doing this? They can't be everywhere at once. But they were. Dr. Wright's quantum AI systems had taken control of the Council's defense network. Every warning came too late. Every defense failed before it could start. The mighty Council military machine was falling apart piece by piece. Commander Ross led a strike team to a secret prison station where the Council kept dangerous species locked away. These were races that had tried to resist Council rule, only to be contained and forgotten. "We're detecting 20 different species in stasis," her science officer reported, "all imprisoned for aggressive tendencies and unstable development." Ross's face hardened. "The Council didn't just try to cage us. They've been doing this for thousands of years. Wake them up. All of them." As the Ghost Fleet provided cover, Earth's ships broke through the prison's defenses. Inside, they found beings from across the galaxy, all victims of the Council's protection. Among them was the proud warrior race of the Steel Walkers, beings of living metal who had refused to bow to Council rule. Their leader, First Commander Blade, had been in stasis for 3 centuries. "You freed us." Blade's metallic voice carried surprise as his systems came back online. "Why?" "Because the Council tried to do the same to us," Ross explained. "We're here to end their rule. Will you join us?" The answer came not just from Blade, but from all the freed species. The Council had created its own worst nightmare, a coalition of the races it had tried to suppress. Back on Earth, President Thomas addressed the United Earth Council. "Phase 3 is complete. The Liberation Alliance is formed. Every species the Council tried to contain is now our ally." Dr. Wright's hologram appeared next to him. "Our AI systems have complete control of their network. We're broadcasting the truth to every Council world, the history of their oppression, the list of species they've contained, everything." The Council's response was panic. Their perfectly ordered galaxy was falling apart. Supply lines were cut. Communications were compromised. And now their darkest secrets were being exposed to every citizen of every world. Admiral Walker watched from his command ship as another Council fortress fell to the combined forces of Earth and the Liberation Alliance. The Steel Walkers' living metal ships fought alongside Earth's Ghost Fleet, their different technologies complementing each other perfectly. "They thought they could contain Earth," Walker said to his bridge crew. "Instead, we've given freedom back to the galaxy." Commander Ross's voice came over the comm. "Admiral, we found something else. The Council didn't just imprison species. They've been holding back technology, keeping discoveries secret to maintain their power. We found their hidden research stations." Walker's eyes narrowed. "Download everything. It's time every species had access to what the Council has been hiding." The counterattack was more successful than anyone had dreamed. Earth hadn't just broken free. They had shattered the Council's power completely. And as their alliance grew stronger, the Council's grip on the galaxy grew weaker by the hour. The revolution had begun, and there was no force in the galaxy that could stop it now. The Grand Council chamber, once a place of order and power, had descended into chaos. Council members shouted accusations at each other as their carefully built empire crumbled around them. "You said Earth was primitive." The representative of the Star Kingdoms screamed at the High Speaker. Now my worlds are in rebellion, and Earth's ghost fleet strikes at will. The High Speaker's 6 eyes blinked rapidly in distress. We all agreed to the containment. Every one of you voted for it. Because you lied to us. Another representative stood up. You didn't tell us about the other species you imprisoned. You didn't tell us about the hidden research you kept from us. Dr. Wright's AI programs had done their work well. Every secret document, every hidden decision, every corrupt deal was now public knowledge across the galaxy. The Council's own communication network broadcast their crimes to every world under their control. In the Council's military headquarters, things were even worse. Admiral Walker watched through spy drones as Council commanders turned on each other. Their entire command structure is falling apart, he reported to Commander Ross. Half their fleet commanders are refusing orders. Some are even joining us. Ross nodded, studying the tactical display aboard her ship. The Steel Walkers have already liberated 3 sectors. Every imprisoned species we free joins the fight. The Council's empire is eating itself alive. On countless worlds, populations rose up against their council governors. The truth about Earth's resistance had spread like wildfire, inspiring others to fight back. Council ships found themselves surrounded by their own people, demanding answers and freedom. Back in the council chamber, the High Speaker made one last attempt to restore order. We can still contain this, if we unite our remaining forces. He never finished. The doors burst open, and representatives from the outer colony stormed in. Their leader, a being of pure energy contained in a mechanical suit, pointed accusingly at the council leadership. We found the proof. The energy being's voice boomed. You've been stealing our resources for centuries, keeping us weak while you grew strong. President Thomas watched the scene through secure feeds in the Rocky Mountain bunker. How long until total collapse? He asked Dr. Wright. She checked her data streams. Hours at most. Every piece of evidence we released is causing new rebellions. The Council's allies are turning on them one by one. The Council's mighty warships, once the terror of the galaxy, now drifted abandoned in space or turned their weapons on each other. Corrupt officials fled with stolen wealth, only to be captured by Earth's ghost fleet or their own angry citizens. In a secret bunker on the Council's capital world, the Emergency Command Center became a trap. Council leaders who had gathered there found themselves locked in as Earth's AI systems took control. This is impossible, one Council commander shouted, trying to override the locked doors. How can they control our most secure systems? The answer came from Admiral Walker himself, broadcast through their own speakers. We've been inside your network since the day you voted for containment. Every defense, every secret, every weakness. We knew them all. Commander Ross led the fleet that surrounded the Council capital. The mighty defenses that had protected it for millennia now stood powerless, shut down by Earth's quantum technology and the Council's own corrupted systems. Attention Council forces, she broadcast on all frequencies. Your leadership has fallen. Your secrets are exposed. Surrender now, and you'll be treated fairly under Earth's laws. The response was immediate. Across the galaxy, Council military units laid down their weapons. Administrative centers opened their doors to rebel forces. The mighty Galactic Council, which had ruled for 10,000 years, collapsed in less than a day. Earth had not just defeated the Council, they had revealed its corruption so completely that it destroyed itself from within. The galaxy's greatest power had fallen, torn apart by its own lies, and the truth Earth had exposed. The age of the Council was over. The time had come for a new order, one built on freedom instead of control, truth instead of lies, and unity instead of suppression. Commander Diana Ross stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. Earth's ships flew alongside vessels from 24 liberated species, all united for the final attack on the Council's last stronghold. All fleets report ready, her tactical officer announced. The Steel Walkers are in position. Ghost Fleet squadrons are cloaked and waiting. Ross took a deep breath. This was it. The final battle to end the Council's power forever. Send the signal. Operation Freedom begins now. Across space, the combined fleet moved as one. Earth's quantum drives lit up the darkness as thousands of ships jumped into battle positions around the Council's fortress world of high command. Inside the fortress, the remaining Council leaders watched in horror as their sensors detected the massive attack force. The High Speaker turned to his last loyal commanders. Launch everything. Use the forbidden weapons. We cannot lose. But Dr. Wright was ready for them. As the Council tried to activate their doomsday devices, Earth's AI systems struck. Every weapon platform, every defense grid, every automated system turned against its masters. Did they really think we'd leave them any weapons to use? Dr. Wright's voice was calm as she coordinated the cyber attack from Earth. Every system they touch becomes ours. Admiral Walker led the first wave, his ships punching through the outer defenses. Remember, we take them alive, he ordered. The galaxy needs to see justice done properly. The Council's remaining loyalist ships fought desperately, but they were no match for the combined might of Earth's technology and the anger of the species they had oppressed. The Steel Walker's living metal ships absorbed enemy fire, while Ghost Fleet vessels struck from nowhere. Inside the fortress, alarms blared as Commander Ross's strike team breached the main gates. Her soldiers moved alongside alien allies, the quick-moving light runners, the powerful rock shapers, and the telepathic mind weavers, all species the Council had tried to contain. Team 2, left corridor, Ross ordered. Team 3, secure the command center. Remember your training. These halls are designed to confuse invaders. But the Council's tricks didn't work anymore. Earth's quantum scanners mapped every hidden passage, every trap, every secret room. The combined forces moved with perfect coordination. Their years of oppression turned into unstoppable determination. The High Speaker and his inner circle fled deeper into the fortress, but they found no safety. Every escape route was blocked. Every secret passage was already filled with Ghost Fleet troops. Every hidden bunker had been compromised. It's over, Walker's voice boomed through the fortress speakers. Your own security systems belong to us. Your weapons are useless. Your fleet is defeated. Surrender now. In a final act of desperation, the High Speaker tried to activate the fortress's self-destruct sequence. If we fall, we'll take you all with us. But nothing happened. Instead, Dr. Wright's face appeared on every screen. Looking for this, she held up a hologram of the self-destruct codes. We took control of those months ago. Like everything else you built, it now serves the cause of freedom. Commander Ross's team reached the central chamber. The massive doors, designed to withstand any attack, opened at her touch. Inside, the Council's leadership stood trapped, their powers gone, their weapons silent, their empire in ruins. In the name of Earth and the free peoples of the galaxy, Ross announced, you are under arrest for crimes against sentient beings. The High Speaker looked at the human commander with all 6 eyes. How? He whispered. How did you defeat us so completely? Ross's answer was simple. You thought you could cage humanity. Instead, you taught us exactly how to tear down your power. Everything you used to control others, we turned into tools of liberation. As Earth's forces secured the fortress, Admiral Walker sent a final message to every world in the galaxy. The Council's reign of terror is over. Tomorrow, we begin building something new. A true federation of free peoples, where no species will ever be caged again. The final push was complete. The Council's last stronghold had fallen. Now came the harder task, helping the galaxy heal and build a better future from the ashes of the old order. 1 year after the Council's fall, the Great Hall of the newly built Unity Station buzzed with activity. Representatives from over 100 species gathered for the founding ceremony of the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds. Admiral Walker, now wearing the simple blue uniform of the Federation, stood at the central podium. Around him, Former enemies sat together. The Steel Walkers' metallic forms next to the energy beings of the outer colonies, the rock shapers beside the mind weavers. All equal, all free. Today, Walker began, his voice carrying across the hall. We end one chapter of galactic history and begin another. The Council's reign of oppression is officially over. On screens throughout the station, images showed the public trials of the former Council leaders. Each crime had been documented, each victim given a voice, each punishment decided by a court representing all species. Commander Ross, leading the new Federation Defense Force, stood with her mixed species command staff. The last prison world has been freed, she reported. Every species the Council contained is now represented here. Dr. Wright's hologram appeared next, her aging face smiling. And more importantly, the Council's hidden knowledge has been shared with all. Their secret research stations are now public universities. Their restricted technologies are available to everyone. The former High Speaker, now wearing simple prisoner's clothes, was led into the hall under guard. The Federation's laws required that he witness this moment. The final dismantling of everything he had helped build. You still don't understand, do you? He asked Walker quietly. Without our control, the galaxy will fall into chaos. Walker smiled. Look around you. We've achieved more in 1 year of freedom than you did in 10,000 years of control. He was right. The combined knowledge of all species, once restricted by the Council, had led to incredible advances. The Steel Walkers' living metal technology merged with Earth's quantum science. The Mind Weaver's telepathic abilities enhanced space travel communications. The Rock Shaper's gravity manipulation improved planetary terraforming. President Thomas, his hair now white from the stressful year, took the podium. The Terra Doctrine is now law across Federation space. No species may be contained. No knowledge may be restricted. No people may be called primitive or unworthy. In orbit above them, the new Federation fleet patrolled. Earth's ghost ships flew alongside vessels of every design, from the crystalline ships of the Light Runners to the living metal vessels of the Steel Walkers. Each brought their own strengths, their own ideas, their own ways of seeing the universe. The Council's greatest fear has come true, Ross said to her alien colleagues. They were afraid of chaos, of change, of difference. Now those very things are our greatest strengths. On planets across the galaxy, former Council worlds adapted to freedom. Some struggled, others thrived, but all had the right to choose their own path. Federation advisors helped where asked, but no world was forced to follow another's way. Dr. Wright's final project was unveiled. A massive database containing all knowledge from all species, freely available to everyone. The Council hoarded knowledge, she announced. We will share it. Let the galaxy's combined wisdom help us all grow. The former High Speaker watched in disbelief as former enemies worked together, solving problems his Council had declared impossible. Species the Council had labeled as dangerous were now leading peacekeeping missions. Worlds they had called primitive were teaching advanced physics to others. This is humanity's true revenge, Walker told him. Not destruction, not control, but freedom. You tried to cage us. Instead, we freed everyone, including your own people. As the ceremony ended, representatives from 100 worlds signed the Federation Charter. The document was simple but powerful. All species are free. All knowledge is shared. All voices are heard. Earth had done more than take revenge. They had turned the galaxy's darkest moment into its brightest beginning. The Council's fall had given birth to something greater than any one species could have built alone. Walker looked out at the stars through Unity Station's great window. Somewhere out there, other species waited to be discovered. But this time, they wouldn't meet conquerors or jailers. They would meet a galaxy of equals, ready to welcome new friends to a future built on freedom.